ये इंट्रो देख के है ना हर बार मुझे हंसी आ जाती है।
क्यों?
अच्छा लगता है, टॉक्सिक मैक्सिमलिस्ट है ना, तब एकदम याद आता है। हाँ, फिर वो टॉक्सिसिटी वापस आ जाती है, सारी सिट कोइनर्स को गाली देने का मन करता है। है ना। सो
यस।
या, वेलकम टू द 35th एपिसोड ऑफ बिटकॉइन वीकली विथ निहाल। वेलकम टू बिटकॉइन हब। या लाइक कर दो अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छी लगे तो, शेयर कर दो, सब्सक्राइब कर दो। हमने स्टार्ट किया था 7-8 महीने पहले। वी आर स्ट्रीमिंग एवरी वीक, एवरी सैटरडे और संडे, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली ऑन संडे। सो वी हैव बीन डूइंग इट फॉर लास्ट 35 वीक्स। बिटकॉइन कितना था तब? 60-65 बिफोर हाविंग स्टार्ट किया था।
या
सो बिटकॉइन इज ऑलरेडी अप 60% आफ्टर आवर पॉडकास्ट। सो या, हमने काफ़ी लोगों को इनकरेज किया होगा बिटकॉइन लेने में, तभी तो पंप हुआ ही है ना।
यस,
और
क्रेडिट ले
कैसे हो?
लेंगे हम।
हम्म।
नहीं,
हमने पंप तो कर दिया।
कंग्रेचुलेशंस फाइनली। हम 2 हफ्ते से वेट कर रहे थे कि 100 बार कब होगा। फाइनली
हम्म
हो गया इस हफ्ते। And it's a great feat for everyone who has stuck around in the Bitcoin space specifically. And for those who have, been dismissive of the fact कि क्या है, why is it so important? It has no intrinsic value. It has no
हम्म
under. ऐसे बहुत कुछ सुनने को मिला for the longest time. And now the same people are pivoting and telling कि oh, इसमें कुछ है बात. And
हम्म
otherwise it wouldn't have crossed the level of the money that we're talking about. It is just a milestone. It is not the end. I mean, it is only the beginning.
हम्म
uh, खैर, जब मेरा एक छोटा एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करता हूँ, I'll just share the
हम्म
screen for the time being.
हम्म,
ये जो हुआ था, ये जब
हाँ,
100 के टच हुआ था, इट वाज
हम्म
ऑलमोस्ट 8 AM, 8:85 के आसपास था, December 5th को. I was almost about to wake. मेरी तबीयत ठीक नहीं थी, तो I was like half in half out. But हाँ, तभी obviously notifications वगैरह start हो गए थे, there were celebrations all around. तो उसके चलते I woke up and तब देखा, then it was there for like 24 hours भी नहीं टिका 100 के obviously, and then we saw a massive shot. It went down to almost 4.
हम्म
Uh, then फिर कल रात में again it climbed, again stable हो रहा है. So 99K is the new 58K कह लो, जहाँ पे price
हम्म
stable. And a lot of people think that टॉप आ गया है, इससे क्या जाएगा. एंड अगर आप देखोगे, ये जो भी क्रिप्टो करेंसी एक्सचेंजेस हैं स्पेसिफिकली इन इंडिया, दे हैव स्टार्टेड देयर मार्केटिंग. एंड हर पेज के फ्रंट पेज पे आपको दिखाई दे रहा है, यू नो दैट फोमो इज किकिंग इन, रिटेल इज कमिंग.
हम्म
एंड ये आपको देखने को मिलेगा अब इन द नेक्स्ट फ्यू वीक्स, चर्चे एंड बात. मैं यस्टरडे टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया का भी न्यूज़पेपर देख रहा था. सो ऊपर के टिकर में फर्स्ट टाइम छोटा सा ही सेक्शन है. आई डोंट नो व्हाई इट डिड नॉट गिव इंपॉर्टेंस एंड इतना कवरेज क्यों नहीं मिला उसको. बट इट वाज गुड टू सी कि इट वाज केप्ट नेक्स्ट टू गोल्ड एंड क्रूड ऑयल रादर देन एनी इथेरियम या सोलाना और
राइट
व्हाटएवर
राइट,
ऑल अदर
वो
बुलशिट.
सही था ना, लाइक थोड़ा थोड़ा मीडिया का पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज होगा।
या, तो वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अभी तो स्टार्ट हुआ है. एंड
हम्म
इसको चलते देयर इज अगेन, इफ यू लुक एट इट, आई
हम्म
जस्ट हाँ, तो ब्लूमबर्ग टर्मिनल व्हिच इज यूज्ड बाय मोस्ट एडवांस्ड ट्रेडर्स अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड
या
फॉर ऑल द इनसाइट्स, एनालिटिक्स एक्सेट्रा, उनके टर्मिनल में दे हैव चेंज्ड. अब 100,000 आपको नहीं दिखाई देगा, इट विल बी 0.1 million. So this is a major milestone and a breakthrough because a lot of it's like a psychological barrier.
हम्म
This 0.1 million was popularized by Samson Mao, Saylor, Adam Back, वगैरह, because they always measured it in millions
हम्म
and in worth millions. So अभी धीरे धीरे we're shifting, where we were moving towards that measurement.
हम्म
Now 0.1 से 1 million जाने में nobody knows कितना time लगेगा. But according to everyone in the space and what they have to say, within 7 years, it's highly probable that it will touch 1 million. But If you look at other metrics and if you look at rational route के charts वगैरह, आपको दिखाई देगा कि there is a possibility, very strong possibility कि it can do that this cycle as well, even if it's for one or few minutes. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's hard to say where the price will be in the short term, but we see with this 100K established, a lot of mainstream media attention it's getting. A lot of people are starting to pay notice, and
Hmm.
some people are still in denial, thinking कि नहीं, it cannot have this much value. Why is it having? There is no underlying. It has failed as a currency. बहुत सारे सुनने को मिलेंगे. But आप अपना काम करो, try and understand what this is, because without you studying, आप किसी भी, like, do not trust anybody else. Do not even listen to us. आप अपना खुद स्टडी करो, तब जाके आपको पता चलेगा कि why is this important.
Hmm.
बोलिए, I just went.
नहीं, मुझे अच्छा लगा।
बोलिए.
मजा आया। शॉर्ट में अगर क्या कह दो लोगों को, तो यही है कि लाइक बिटकॉइन इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग हैपनिंग इन द वर्ल्ड राइट नाउ।
Yeah.
या लाइक या द मोस्ट लाइक, इससे ऊपर दूसरा तो फिर क्या ही हो गया फिर। इसके ऊपर दूसरा फिर फैमिली हो गया, खुद के लिए टाइम हो गया। वो इसके लाइक व्हाट इज मोर वैल्यूएबल देन बिटकॉइन? इट्स टाइम।
Yeah. And this is one part of it ना. अभी अगर आप देखोगे, मैं प्राइस तो वन एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इट है. yesterday जब इनका इंटरव्यू हुआ था जेरोम पाउल का, एंड जो यूएस के सेक्रेटरी हैं, ट्रेजरी सेक्रेटरी, तो he has clearly mentioned कि primary use case for Bitcoin seems to be a store of value, that is digital gold
सॉरी
in
यार।
a decentralized finance world.
ये कमेंट
Speculative
देखो किसी
interests
के।
seems to speculative interest seems to have played a prominent role in the growth of digital tokens thus far. Efforts to leverage blockchain and distributed ledger technology to develop new applications and improve legacy financial market clearing settlement rates. So ये लोग अभी वहीं अटके हुए हैं.
बकवास
Blockchain
तो
blockchain.
करेंगे ये लोग,
Yeah.
उनका
So
काम है।
yeah, but a treasury office, a US treasury
हम्म,
office calling Bitcoin and comparing it to digital gold. So they've clearly told, आप उसका वो इंटरव्यू
हम्म,
देखोगे तो उसने बोला कि यूएस डॉलर से कंपैरिजन नहीं है, एंड उसको कंपटीशन नहीं है, इट हैज अ कंपटीशन विद गोल्ड on the same lines. And that's how everything starts. That's how this whole thing started. Bitcoin started.
हम्म,
Now the next target to hit is breach the gold parity, which will happen around 800, yeah, 850,000 per Bitcoin. उसके बाद
हम्म,
में it will, एक बार वो 1 million hit कर गया, then it will be equal, 1 cent will be equal to 1 sat. So
हम्म,
then it will be in competition with dollar perhaps. तब उनको जाके लगेगा, ओ, और लेट बोल दिया हमने.
1 सेंट 1 सेट है ना, एट 1 मिलियन,
Yeah.
राइट?
Yeah.
एट वन
तो
मिलियन
अगर, yeah, for Indian viewers, obviously 1.1 million dollars के आसपास अगर आता है Bitcoin का प्राइस, then that will be 1 rupee will be equal to 1 sat, and that is not factoring in the currency depreciation, which is USD INR. So that is why we
इफ
have
वी
always advocating कि आपका wealth जो है measure करो Bitcoin के terms में भी, even if you are not purchasing it, measure करो, then आपको पता चलेगा कैसे decrease हो रहा है आपका wealth. हाँ बोलिए.
एक्सपोनेंशियली हो रहा है यार डिक्रीज में।
Yeah.
हजार
Yeah.
हजार डॉलर का मिलियन सेट्स भी नहीं आ रहा अब तो।
Yeah.
इज 90,000 रुपीज इन इंडिया, लाइक लाइक मेजोरिटी लोग 90,000 लोग कमाते, 90,000 रुपीज महीने, एक महीने का कमाते भी नहीं है इंडिया में। 80-90% लोग शायद फैमिली की इनकम महीने की आई थिंक 20-25 हजार, 30-35-40 हजार में जीते हैं इंडिया के। आई थिंक 85-90% लोग है ना,
Yeah.
इवन लेस देन दैट। ये ज्यादा ही बोल दिया मैंने, लाइक अगर हम ग्राउंड रियलिटी पे जाते हैं, जो
वही ना,
इंजीनियर्स हैं जो।
मुझे अब आज तक एक एक्यूरेट नंबर नहीं मिला जो मेजर कर सके, बिकॉज इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मेजर इंडिया ऑन अ स्केल. आप जितना भी कर लो, यू, एक पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया आपको दिखाई देगा, दूसरा पार्ट क्या झेल रहा है, क्या कर रहा है, वी डोंट नो.
हम्म
We only see the flashy and bling side because obviously, आपको वो सब दिखाई देता है.
हम्म
दूसरा एक सेक्शन है जो हैंड टू माउथ डेली गुजारा कर रहे हैं, डेली वेजेस भी बहुत कम है. एंड आप ये गिग वर्कर्स का भी देख लो, उनका भी 25-28,000, I think in that range is the minimum wage that they have been
हम्म
set by the government. But कितनों को मिलता है, that is again a
हम्म
question.
पानी पूरी वाला earns more than some, I think, average computer engineer or average
Yeah,
engineer in India.
yeah. वो 1-1.5 लाख कमाते हैं, बट उनका रिस्क भी उतना है. अगेन आप वो वैसा कंपेयर करोगे तो दिन दे लाइक क्यों पे
Like,
करें टैक्स, इफ इवन इफ दे वांट टू पे और नॉट वांट टू पे, दे लाइक हाँ ठीक है, हमने इतना खर्चा किया, हम ये कर रहे हैं पूरा, उनको कैश डीलिंग हो रही है उनकी, रोज वो जो वही मोमो बनाते हैं या पानी पूरी बनाते हैं,
hmm.
कैश पे कर दिया, रेंट वगैरह
नहीं,
पे
लाइक
कर
दे आर
दिया.
फाइन, लाइक वो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, दे आर अर्निंग, वो तो लाइक उनकी डिमांड, लाइक उनका जो है वो बिकॉज ऑफ डिमांड है, बट स्किल की वैल्यू इतनी गिर गई कि कोई इतने
राइट.
सारे हर कोई इंजन, लाइक अभी भी पेरेंट्स में यार, फिर आप 10th पासिंग जो बच्चे होंगे स्कूल में यार, 80 70 60 50% लोग तो साइंस में जाते हैं, बाकी कॉमर्स में चले जाते हैं, 10 15 5% आर्ट्स में जाते हैं, बस तीन ही चीज रह गई है.
करेक्ट. चलिए
एंड वो
नेक्स्ट.
वो वो
हाँ
वो
सॉरी.
जॉब भी गारंटी नहीं करती. नहीं नहीं, आप नेक्स्ट शुरू करो, मैं लाइक मीनवाइल बोलूंगा कि वो जॉब भी गारंटी नहीं करती ना, बात
हम्म.
ये है, कोई गारंटी नहीं है.
तो दिस वीक
हम्म
फॉर द प्राइस सर्च इज अनदर रीजन कि बिटकॉइन की मार्केटिंग टीम इज इन फुल डिस्प्ले. यूएस प्रेसिडेंट wants America to embrace Bitcoin and develop innovation here. इसलिए अगर आप देखोगे तो इन्होंने AI एंड क्रिप्टो जार का एक पोस्ट बनाया है, which will be seated in the White House.
हम्म
And I think उनका नाम डेविड है. So he was in the PayPal mafia apparently. So and he understands Bitcoin, but he
हम्म
is conflating that with other cryptocurrencies as well.
हम्म
And yeah, but उनको बनाया है uh, the head of that.
हम्म.
Is that I'm confusing
हाँ
उनको
हाँ,
ऐसे
या इट्स द सेम,
वही
या
है.
राइट, डेविड
हाँ,
सीजर.
फिर ऐसी SEC चेयर को भी किसी प्रो क्रिप्टो पर्सन को ही बनाया है. आई एम नॉट श्योर
हाँ
उनका नाम.
हाँ हाँ हाँ, वो भी
तो
है,
हाँ.
वो तो है.
हाँ. तो इन एडिशन टू दैट, रशिया के पुतिन ने बोला है कि ही इज ओपनली टोल्ड लाइक इन फ्रंट ऑफ इट वाज अ पब्लिक फोरम, एंड उन्होंने बोला है
हम्म
हु कैन बैन बिटकॉइन, नोबडी कैन, एंड
हम्म
बिटकॉइन डेवलप होता जाएगा. सो दीज टू फैक्टर्स आर इनफ. एंड दिस इज हाईली अभी अभी तो लोग आर गेसिंग कि रशिया इज डेफिनेटली बाइंग और माइनिंग बिटकॉइन,
डेफिनेटली.
though they are not vocal about it. They don't need to be vocal about it, and
हम्म
we might not see this for another few months. लोग इकट्ठा करते जाएंगे, and I mean लोग, by लोग I mean countries and corporation, and those who do not have the incentive to reveal it will not reveal it. मतलब क्यों पता चले. So that is one thing. And having said this, there are two major conferences happening starting tomorrow, and that will have some major announcement is what I'm assuming. एक तो है अबू धाबी में बिटकॉइन मीना कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रहा है, 2-3
राइट.
दिन के लिए चलेगा. वहाँ पे you have all your prominent Bitcoin speakers. And the next big one is in Africa, Nairobi, Kenya में हो रहा है 9th to 11th. So ये दो जगह पे you'll see a lot of traction, a lot of development in the whole Bitcoin space, price wise, regulations wise, policy wise, development on the technology front wise. ये सारी चीजें, these two things are very important in the next coming days.
हम्म
तो yeah, there's so much happening. इसलिए we price, खैर ठीक है, we're all excited, 100K टच हो गया है. अब क्या, next stop is 1 million. तो उसके लिए तैयारी अभी से we are seeing everywhere. And El Salvador as a shining example, जो IMF के साथ रह करके एल साल्वाडोर अचीव नहीं कर पाया 30 सालों में, उसने
हम्म
बिटकॉइन को अडॉप्ट करके 4 सालों में कर दिखाया. So if you look at the bonds, El Salvador के bonds have shot through the roof, and they are performing extremely well compared to all their peers in the region.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is a perfect case study, and I'm
Hmm.
sure everyone will replicate it. इसके चलते there is another country called Chile, where उन्होंने बिटकॉइन से हाथ साफ कर लिया अपना, and they want to stick by what IMF is telling,
Hmm.
and उनको ठेस नहीं पहुंचाना चाहते, and they're like नहीं नहीं, we do not want, because IMF ने बोला है, that is why we are not touching Bitcoin. But they will obviously come around after a few years, and then they will adopt what uh, El Salvador is doing. One more funny thing is El Salvador ने कौन है, नाइब बुकेले जो प्रेसिडेंट है वहाँ
Hmm.
के,
Hmm.
he had shared a meme कि once a certain target, like उनका
Hmm.
treasury reserve बढ़ गया था, उन्होंने बोला कि now is the right time to buy Guatemala. उसके बाद से
Hmm.
ग्वाटेमाला कंट्री जो है, they started, they were very curious and they started learning more about Bitcoin and why it is important. तो या
Hmm.
just because of one meme जो प्रेसिडेंट ने शेयर किया था, उनको डर लग गया Guatemala as a country, and they started reading and learning about Bitcoin.
गेम थ्योरी प्ले हो रही है ना हर जगह पे.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And one more major thing which will happen in 2-3 days, ज्यादा दूर नहीं है, सेलर बाबू जो है, he will, उन्होंने ऑलरेडी प्रेजेंटेशन ये बना दिया है, he has pitched it to Satya Nadella and Microsoft, and he's put it out in the public for anyone to see. जो भी वो अपने कंपनी के साथ कर रहे हैं, the MicroStrategy Bitcoin playbook, he wants that to be adopted with other companies, Magnificent Seven companies as well. तो अगर आप देखोगे market capitalization पे, you have only a few companies which are above Bitcoin. And if, not if, when Bitcoin reaches 185,000 and above, it'll be next to gold uh,
Hmm.
when you compare market capitalization. So
Hmm.
it only makes sense for these companies जो Bitcoin के market cap के ऊपर हैं to adopt and stay there, to adopt Bitcoin and stay there. That is why इन्होंने MicroStrategy के CEO जो है, चेयरमैन जो है, इन्होंने
Hmm.
बोला है कि ऐसा ऐसा प्रेजेंटेशन दिया है 3 मिनट का, एंड उसका क्या होगा, वी विल सी, द रिजल्ट पता चलेगा December 10th को.
Hmm.
So I feel it'll turbocharge their market capitalization if they
Hmm.
adopt it in the first place.
एक बार वो खोले क्या, एक लाइक जस्ट सर्च बार में एक बार सर्च करो एसेट मार्केट कैप, सर्च बार में, वही वही न्यू टैब में.
अच्छा, एक
ओके. Asset market cap. So I think Bitcoin is on and seventh or eighth number right now.
मिनट, 7 था ना आई थिंक लास्ट
You know, six more than silver.
टाइम. एक मिनट.
राहुल क्या बोल रहे हैं? Hey guys, all good. Yeah, good morning. E-rickshaw is a new measure of unemployment rate in India. Right. ये वही चीज़ हो गई ना, पानी पूरी वाला, ई रिक्शा, जूस, मोमोज, small restaurants and big restaurants. एंड द नेक्स्ट थिंग इज भाई, आरबीआई तो बोला है भाई कि हाँ, कब बोला कि हम डिडोलराइज करना है, ये ब्रिक करेंसी हमारा आइडिया नहीं है. मुझे नहीं लगा यार, अगर ये
या
सच
इट वाज
है.
फनी. नहीं नहीं, यस्टरडे आपने वो, आई थिंक वो इंटरव्यू नहीं देखा था, उसमें उन्होंने कैसे ऐसे ऐसे वॉश कर दिया ना अपना हाथ, बोलते हैं कि नहीं, हमारा आइडिया तो नहीं था, हम तो कर रहे हैं, वी जस्ट वांट टू
सालों.
encourage bilateral trade also in our currencies, but US dollar is US dollar, इसका
हम्म.
there is no problem with that.
हम्म.
That is what the hidden translation message was. That's hilarious. आप उनके इंटरव्यू देखो मिस्टर दास
हम्म.
के, पता चलेगा.
शक्तिकांत दास ना.
Yeah. हाँ, cool. Let's, where were we? हाँ, asset ranking में, when we were talking
या
about Michael Saylor presenting to Microsoft का
हाँ,
board,
ये
and
इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है, ये बहुत ही आगे जाके हमें बहुत दिखेगा ना ये चार्ट,
yeah,
अगले 4 5 7 10 साल तक दिखने वाला है
ये फ्लक्चुएट
ये.
कर रहा है. ये कल सुबह
हम्म.
तक, आज सुबह तक it was 2 trillion के ऊपर. Now it is
हम्म.
1.93. The main point is it is above Saudi Aramco, Silver, Meta, and all these companies, and it is steadily increasing in its market capitalization value to
हम्म
overtake Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple. So you just have four Chintu companies who
लाइक
make
डबल
most
हो
of the,
जाएगा तो सेकंड पे आ जाएगा।
yeah, double, हाँ,
और
almost 200 के आसपास, yes.
हाँ, एक चीज इसमें ये है कि ना इस बार पहली बार बिटकॉइन जो रैली कर रहा है ना, तो इस बार पहली बार जो M2 सप्लाई है ना वो नेगेटिव है।
अच्छा, okay.
तो वो उसमें रैली कर रहा है। अभी
Hmm.
तक लाइक वो हेवी प्रिंटिंग तो स्टार्ट भी नहीं हुई है।
Right,
तो
correct.
लो लिक्विडिटी एनवायरनमेंट में बिटकॉइन पंप कर रहा है। तो अभी तो जो है क्या हो रहा है कि न्यू जो या जो
Hmm.
मनी है वो रोटेशन हो रहा है। न्यू मनी
Right.
अभी इतना तेजी से नहीं आ रही स्टार्ट। सो वो पता नहीं लाइक कब होगा, लाइक सडनली इंटरेस्ट रेट घटा दे, लाइक 25 बेसिस पॉइंट घटाया जा रहा है, सडनली 50 घटाए, 70 घटाए, या फिर ना
Next
भी
कब है?
घटाए।
Any idea?
जनवरी में, जनवरी में। सो एवरी टू
हाँ, तो
मंथ्स
देखो।
है, रिव्यू
वो-
करेंगे।
हाँ,
सो ये सब भी पंप होंगे, मैं ये कहना चाह रहा हूँ। लाइक बिटकॉइन गोल्ड को अगर ओवरटेक करता है, हम कितना है, लाइक 800 के पे गोल्ड को ओवरटेक कर जाएगा, राइट?
हम्म,
बट लाइक जब तक ओवरटेक करे तब तक शायद गोल्ड भी डबल हो गया हो, बिकॉज लास्ट एक साल में ही गोल्ड की मार्केट कैप $6 ट्रिलियन बढ़ी है। $6 ट्रिलियन, लाइक 11-12 से 18 ट्रिलियन, 19 ट्रिलियन तक गोल्ड गया है।
yeah.
तो अगले 5 साल में डबल भी हो सकता है वो, मोर। तो वो चला जाएगा 40 ट्रिलियन, और फिर बिटकॉइन को उसको क्रॉस करना पड़ेगा। सो आई मुझे लगता है कि गोल्ड को क्रॉस करने में 7-8 साल लगेंगे, मैक्स टू
हम्म,
मैक्स। मैक्स टू मैक्स 7-8 साल लगेंगे, और दैट विल लाइक उस तब बिटकॉइन लाइक 1.5 मिलियन चला जाएगा। 1.5 यहाँ से 15 टाइम्स, 15 टाइम्स मोर।
and it's not difficult for Bitcoin to do that.
इट्स रियली इजी ना, लाइक हमें तो लाइक पता है, लाइक हम तो ये जनता देख रही है इसलिए बोल रहे हैं कि यार समझ रहे हो ना।
Yeah,
कि हमें तो लाइक गोल्ड क्या, रियल एस्टेट बॉन्ड मार्केट 1000 ट्रिलियन आने वाला है इसमें।
right.
और ट्रिलियंस ऑफ क्वाड्रिलियंस ऑफ मनी आएगी, लाइक सारी वर्ल्ड की वैल्यू, लाइक इट्स इन्फिनिटी,
Yeah,
इट्स इन्फिनिटी।
fair.
बट अगर कोई न्यू व्यूअर्स है उनके लिए हम बोल रहे हैं कि या हो सकता है, लाइक वी आर बिकम बीइंग कंजर्वेटिव।
Right. So this is one more thing which is important and which is concerning on the same time, because one, ये इन्होंने नहीं निकाला है ये वो टर्म वन नाकामोटो, मतलब इट्स इक्वलेंट टू 1 million Bitcoin, and US spot Bitcoin ETFs have covered, uh, like they own more than Satoshi Nakamoto now, which is
नाइस।
concerning. And I don't know, अगर आप यहाँ पे देखोगे ना, US spot ETF holds 1.1 million, MicroStrategy owns 4.2 million, US government 198,
गजब।
फिर आप क्रैकन देख लो, फिर रॉबिनहुड देख लो, ये सारे यूएस एंटिटीज हैं, एंड वन 6102 ऑर्डर will have all of this under US government. So it's not good. It won't do anything to the security of the Bitcoin network as such, but centralization बढ़ सकता है in terms of coin. क्या बोलते
आई
हैं?
थिंक इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोसेस, लाइक पार्ट ऑफ द एडॉप्शन है ना।
Yeah,
बिकॉज अभी अभी यूएस की जीडीपी वर्ल्ड की जीडीपी का कितना होगा, लाइक 30%, 35%,
right,
है ना?
right.
लाइक 30 ट्रिलियन यूएस की जीडीपी है, चाइना की 20 ट्रिलियन है, 50 ट्रिलियन हो गया। बाकी यूके, जर्मनी और इंडिया है 3-5-4 ट्रिलियन। सो अराउंड वर्ल्ड की जीडीपी अगर 70-75 ट्रिलियन है तो 30 इज यूएस है। सो द यूएस इज ऑलमोस्ट 35-40%।
Hmm.
सो लाइक ऑब्वियस है कि उनको भी ये सब टेक्नोलॉजी में उनको सबसे पहले आइडिया है, लाइक एडोप्शन उधर ही पहले होगा, वर्ल्ड उसको ही फॉलो कर रहा है अभी। तो 15-20%, 15-20% तक बिटकॉइन आई थिंक वो एक्वायर कर भी सकता है। अभी कितना है, 1 मिलियन ईटीएफ के पास है, 500,000 सेलर के पास है,
पाँच
तो वन
पाँच
पॉइंट
परसेंट के
फाइव
पास,
टू 2.5 मिलियन समथिंग तो होगा, राइट, टोटल यूएस में। एंड
अप्रोक्सीमेटली उससे
होल्डर्स,
ज्यादा होगा, वो छोटे
हाँ
मोटे कंपनीज जो हैं अभी जो बढ़ रहे
हाँ
हैं,
हाँ।
they
एंड
would also
होल्डर्स भी तो
have.
है, वो तो पता भी नहीं, होल्डर्स भी काफ़ी है। सो यूएस में शायद 21 मिलियन की में से शायद हो सप्लाई, कितनी 20 25 30% सप्लाई यूएस, 35 30 30 मोर देन 30% सप्लाई भी यूएस में हो सकती है बिटकॉइन की।
हम्म,
वही तो लोग उनको लाइक एनकरेज कर रहे हैं, लाइक लाइक बिटकॉइनर्स ही तो है जो गवर्नमेंट में आ रहे हैं और समझा रहे हैं। बट
या
जैसे टाइम जाएगा तो आई थिंक वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होगा ही होगा।
या आई मीन वही ना,
हम्म
it all boils down to that कि after a point you're not buying Bitcoin, you're earning in it.
हम्म
तो अगर
राइट
लोग
राइट राइट
काम करवाना चाहेंगे तो
हम्म
they will pay in Bitcoin. So
हम्म
it's there. Uh, cool. Coming to the
हम्म
next part, digital asset venture capital firm Sora Ventures launches a $150 million fund to help Asian listed companies adopt Bitcoin treasury strategies similar to MicroStrategy model.
नाइस
Japan, Hong Kong, Thailand, Taiwan, South Korea. So, see, this is what I meant. This is another improvement in that direction. कि US से निकल के you're distributing it to the east. And look, the West can, ठीक है, वो हमेशा they're ahead of things. In this one, at least, there is a global consensus. People are realizing, and they will also work towards it. $150 million कुछ नहीं होता when you compare billions being poured into it by government कह लो, by MicroStrategy ही कह लो. तो but this is a good step forward where
1500
you're
बिटकॉइन हुए हैं,
कम है, बहुत कम है.
है ना।
Yeah,
एक चीज बिटकॉइन स्टैंडर्ड में कितनी इजी है कि ये जो मिलियन बिलियन ट्रिलियन में जो हम कंफ्यूज हो रहे हैं ना,
yeah,
कितना ट्रिलियन क्या क्या समझ नहीं आता, हमारा दिमाग प्रोसेस नहीं कर पाता। अब फिक्स है यार कि भाई 21 मिलियन, धीरे धीरे वो आइडिया लग जाएगा लाइक। उसके बाद सीधा है कि भाई 100 बिटकॉइन, 1000 बिटकॉइन, वैल्यूएशन कितनी है कंपनी की, भाई 500 बिटकॉइन, 2000 बिटकॉइन।
yeah.
सो ये बहुत अच्छा स्टैंडर्ड है, मेट्रिक बहुत अच्छा है लाइक।
स्पीकिंग ऑफ विच, हम लोग मैं और सचिन यस्टरडे बात कर रहे थे कि अगर
हम्म
आपको अपना टाइम मेजर करना है, जिसे आप
हम्म
आगे चल के सैलरी अगर आप लेते हो इन सैट्स, तो दैट विल बी फ्लक्चुएटिंग.
हम्म
हाउ विल यू टाइम इट? हाउ, कैसे डिसाइड करोगे कि कितने सैट्स इज वर्थ कितना काम? क्योंकि अगर आप अभी कंपेयर करोगे तो वन सैट इज अप्रोक्सीमेटली 11 रुपीज. सॉरी,
हम्म
1 रुपीज एग्जैक्टली 11 सैट्स. तो
हम्म
अच्छा, पर आवर ही देख लो. अगर आप पर आवर
हम्म
सपोज 250 रुपीज चार्ज कर रहे हो,
राइट।
देन देखो सचिन का कमेंट आ भी गया, नॉट इजी. तो हाउ
Sachin, would
विल
you like
यू?
to come up? Sachin, if like send link to Sachin if he can, if he joins.
या,
Meanwhile we will continue.
हाँ, तो आप इसका, आप अपना पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू बताओ कि व्हाट डू
Hmm.
यू थिंक, इज इट पॉसिबल
Right.
टू मेजर इट? क्योंकि ये स्केल तो
हाँ.
चेंज हो रहा है. इट्स हैपनिंग,
Hmm.
इट्स चेंजिंग रेगुलरली.
Hmm. मैंने एक्चुअली इसी बात को चलते मैंने एक्चुअली कल ही नोस्टर में भी पोस्ट किया था। मेरा जस्ट रैंडम ऑब्जर्वेशन, लाइक मेरा कैलकुलेशन था कि आप लाइक इट इज द ईयर 2044,
हम्म,
2044 का साल है।
हम्म,
और यू कैन बाई द बिग विला जिसमें बैकयार्ड है, आप अपनी फार्मिंग छोटी मोटी चल रही है, मुर्गे वगैरह है, गाय भैंस वगैरह है ना।
हम्म,
वो आप 10,000 सेट्स में खरीद पाओगे आराम से। मुझे ऐसा
हम्म,
लाइक जस्ट लगा 10,000 सेट्स। एक तो ये है, दूसरा सैमसन माओ का एक कमेंट था कि आफ्टर 10 years एवरेज, हाँ कि मिनिमम वेज विल बी लाइक 10 to 15 सेट्स एन आवर। बोले कि अगर
हम्म.
तुम एनुअली 1 लाख सेट्स कमा रहे हो देन यू आर एवरेज इनकम। सो मेजर तो कर सकते हैं, पर लाइक हम कोई भी मॉडल यूज कर सकते हैं। बट अगर लाइक बट इट विल बी सेट्स, और वो कैसे मेजर होगा, लाइक वो उसकी वैल्यू कहाँ से आएगी, वो आएगी एनर्जी से
राइट.
कि कितना बिटकॉइन का एक्साइज है, उसके पीछे पर ब्लॉक में कितना रिवॉर्ड है, ट्रांजेक्शन उसकी डिमांड कितनी है बिटकॉइन ट्रांजेक्शन की। 1 मिनट, आई जस्ट नीड टू गो फॉर 5 minutes।
हाँ, ठीक है. सचिन, यू आर हियर. एक मिनट, आपको बुलाते हैं स्टेज पे.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, Sachin.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? Yeah, we were discussing about salaries, and Rahul's got a interesting take as well. Salaries will not increase. Salaries increase nahi hongi. Markets will
राइट।
decide.
Definitely agree.
So yeah. So, but
I
see,
mean,
this is fine.
what does Rahul mean by salaries won't increase? I mean, market will decide that's correct, but
Yeah, he
what
mean
does
by
that
that like
mean?
in sets terms, right? Oh,
Oh, okay, like that.
maybe
Ah,
yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, so this is one of the other arguments I heard on Twitter as well. Ki your salaries will constantly decrease in terms of SAT's value.
Hmm.
Like every year you'll get a pay cut instead of pay raise.
Hmm.
Yeah, यहाँ पे जो every year you're getting 10% increase or whatever, there you'll get a 10% decrease.
Yeah,
And that's
whatever.
hard
Yeah.
to imagine now because it feels like, what bullshit are you talking about? ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है? How will I live? My
Hmm.
groceries will. But then you look at the whole priced in Bitcoin charts, and every commodity or everything, your eggs, bread, etc., their price is reducing compared to Bitcoin terms. So we just need to find a measuring stick which is constant,
Hmm.
which is difficult to do at this moment when you're using Bitcoin as your measurement stick.
Hmm. Sachin.
Sachin, you got any thoughts on that? We started the discussion, but yeah, if you have any thoughts, please share.
Yes, so on the salary thing, right? I am
Hmm.
getting paid in Bitcoin. I'm not I did have I think I've been getting paid in Bitcoin for almost a year now. So in that year, for the first 6 months, it was half of fiat and half of Bitcoin. And yeah, Rahul's right. Salaries will decrease, savings will increase, and your purchasing power will increase. That's exactly right. So when I started earning Bitcoin, it was before the bull market started. It was half fiat and half Bitcoin, and it was insane looking at looking at my Bitcoin value just increase. Like you
Hmm.
kind of like look. Let's say that I was earning 5,000 rupees per month, and 2,500 was in fiat and 2,500 was in Bitcoin, and
Hmm.
so the value of that 2,500 is not the same anymore. It's the Bitcoin value, right? It
Hmm.
increased
Hmm.
to like what 5,000 or 7,500 now.
Hmm.
So the work that I put in previously suddenly has gone up in value.
Right.
That was a click for me. And then after that, now I'm fully earning in Bitcoin. And
Hmm.
the problem that I faced was as the bull market progressed and Bitcoin's price went up, I saw my pay in Bitcoin go down because the value of
Hmm.
my work was priced in fiat.
Hmm.
I was getting paid in Bitcoin, but it was all valued in fiat. So the
Hmm.
thing is, since I was valuing my work in fiat, it kind of keeps going down. I think when you start valuing your work in Bitcoin itself, that might be the next transition. But then I was
Hmm.
having a discussion with this about this with Nihal, and let's say that right now I am earning like 1,000 sats per hour,
Hmm.
right? If I
Hmm.
value it at 1,000 sats per hour, it can't be the same, and the employer will not be happy with that because like in another 5 years or 6 years, if Bitcoin keeps going up,
Hmm.
the employer will not be that happy.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So this is
Right.
a very interesting, like in Bitcoin especially in India, there's a lot of conversation about labor relations, right? How
Hmm.
employer and employees always have this like strained relationship.
Hmm.
Maybe what happens is Bitcoin can kind of change that and make it a more two-way conversation rather than right now when all their work and labor is priced in fiat. It
Hmm.
is more. I feel like I don't know. It's just a feeling. I don't know if it's true or not. The employer will always have the upper hand in negotiations,
Hmm.
but maybe on a Bitcoin standard, it might be a bit more even-handed between the employer and employee. But
Right.
maybe that can happen.
Yeah, I agree fully with Sachin. Like, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but for me, since I'm pricing my work in fiat and my Bitcoin earnings is going down, it's a bit it's a new thing. It's something that I
Hmm.
need to get used to, even though I've been into Bitcoin for a while now. Uh,
Hmm.
but I feel like it's all up to the particular employer that you're working with, and you like it has to be negotiated with your employer. I don't think that there's like a proper set framework that applies for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
True. Agree.
Right.
And this will evolve over time, no? Like in the next 5, 10 years, we'll see a shift.
Mm.
Because there are companies across the world who give you the option. जितना आपको fiat में लेना है, जितना आपको BTC में लेना है. And there's proper accounting also done on the back end on how it needs to be done from these companies. Anyways,
But then
moving.
the fact
Oh, sorry.
is, sorry, just one last thing. I mean, the
Yeah.
fact is your purchasing power, what you can buy with what you earn, keeps going up. So
Correct.
Mm.
I feel like it is not that big an issue.
Yeah.
As long as as long as it's a bull market, it won't be an issue. But by
Correct.
the time, if at all the next bear market hits, which is highly likely, but if cycles keep progressing, I feel like the next bear market will cause a lot of issues on this.
Mm-hmm.
There's one more guy called Sahil. I'm sure all of us here know about it. Him, and he works in Austin, and he is special. He works in the design part of a particular company. I'm not sure which one. So he completely lives on Bitcoin. So uski salary aati hai, and it's auto converted to Bitcoin. And whenever he needs something, then he uses it. There's a lot of accounting which he needs to be doing on a regular basis. कि कैसे manage करना है, कितना निकालना है, and all that jazz. But he's a real life example on living on Bitcoin standard, like completely. And of course, he's not in India, so he doesn't have the challenges that we do in India. But as a role model, and if you want to look up to someone in terms of, there are 3 articles which he's written. So if anyone's interested, please go check it out. His name is Sahil, and you can find him on Twitter. He
Mm.
used to work at Unchained before. अभी पता नहीं किसके साथ काम कर रहा
Mm.
है. Rahul का
Yeah,
one
and
more. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, Rahul's right. He says the market will decide what the salary is, and he says everything would not be cheaper. And yeah, he's right. He's exactly right. That's how the market works. It's these are things that can't be predicted.
Yeah.
But in in like when you're calculating as an individual, it's better to have a proper cushion before you start earning Bitcoin fully. It's best to it doesn't apply for everyone, obviously. It's best for people to have a balance between fiat and Bitcoin, and if they have a good enough cushion in their life when it comes to financial terms, I feel like it's best to then start thinking about earning fully in Bitcoin. Before
Yeah.
that, I don't think what I'm doing is feasible for everybody.
Right.
Mm.
Cool. Let's move on to the other thing. हाँ,
Mm.
कुछ बोलने वाले थे, भाविक?
Mm. Uh, yeah, one thing is that Sachin, and your last sentence, ki, like whatever what you are doing is cannot be peaceful for others. On that, I would like to say, I think it will be good for, I think, everybody, if they can do it for, let's say, for more than 2 years, like at least, like if they do it for long enough time, then like even if the Bitcoin dumps, right, when the bear market hits, but still you're like whatever you earned 2 3 years ago, that is still up 5x 7x 4x, and whatever you earned in the last 6 months, maybe it is half, but still your overall stake is up. So I think
Yeah,
people
you're
will
exactly right.
right, you're getting me right, so people will manage this thing, and eventually this like volatility will decrease, diminish, and like we will, like then I don't think market will let's say after 20 30 years, like annual, like average average growth in economy would be around max to max 3 to 4 3 5 5 6% max.
Yeah, exactly. If you're
Right.
looking at a time frame of 20,
Right.
30 years and all, it's absolutely a great thing to do. I think
Hmm.
there is a statistic, right, that anyone
Hmm.
who's held Bitcoin for a minimum of 4 years has never been at a loss.
Right. Right.
Like minimum four
Right.
years,
Right.
if you hold Bitcoin, then you
Right.
won't be at a loss. So right
Hmm.
now, as we transition from fiat to Bitcoin, I feel like you know with the time frame of at least 4 years, I think that is
Hmm.
the best thing to do. But when it
Hmm.
comes to let's say expenses that are less than 4 years, maybe 2 3 years, right?
Hmm.
I don't
Right.
think that Bitcoin is like so. That's why maybe till we transition to a Bitcoin standard,
Hmm.
um, having a cushion of earning both in fiat and Bitcoin will be like a good. I mean, it'll be a sensible thing to do. If not earning in
Hmm.
fiat and Bitcoin, I feel like having a cushion of fiat balance that can take care of your expense for the next 1 2 3 years, that as well is a good thing to do.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. Agree.
Cool. Let's move forward. Speaking of capital gains tax on Bitcoin, Prague has zero capital gains tax on Bitcoin if you have held Bitcoin over 3 years. So this is something which is encouraging, and we see a lot of this happening across the world. And अभी ये कल या परसों की न्यूज़ है, and it's catching up steam across Europe, and a lot of people have openly praised this. तो ये न्यूज़ जो है क्रिस्टियन ने शेयर किया है, who is one of the CXOs in Brains mining.
Brains
Brains
account.
mining
Yeah.
के बारे में we spoke about last week. Brains
Hmm.
mining employs Stratum V2, and इनका proposal था Stratum V2 के लिए, and Stratum V2 is something that is important for people to understand when you're talking about decentralization and mining. Speaking of mining, we have this which came out, and I think this is amazing.
Hmm.
It's a miner which is which gives up to 10 terahash per second of computing power,
Hashing power. Yeah.
and it's only 160 watts. So
Hmm.
I'm sure the price will be expensive, thoda bahut,
Hmm.
compared to what you can get in the same range. But this is the way forward, is what I feel. कि घर पे
Right.
every house will have a miner of this sort, and they could go rogue, they could go on solo mining pools, or solo mining, and they could just run it. जैसे it could be a light bulb on in your house, ऐसे माइनर लगा के छोड़ देंगे लोग, and if they're lucky they win the block reward, if they're not, ठीक है, no problem. So that's how people will treat this as. And I mean, once you have Bitcoiners who realize what this is. But yeah, this is great in my opinion. 10 terahash is not a small amount. पहले तो you had that nerd miner where you get
Hmm.
kilo hash per second.
Hmm.
यहाँ
Hmm.
पे
Hmm.
massive upgrades. I think these are
Hmm.
almost 8. हाँ, यहाँ पे लिखा भी है. It's 8 A6 chips, ASIC chips. So this is pretty good.
Hmm.
आप खरीदोगे ऐसा अगर मिला तो आपको?
हाँ, like depends upon price. Like if it is so S19 जो S19 Pro है वो 90 terahash है and it
Yeah,
consumes 2000 watts 2 kilowatt. So
yeah,
अगर ऐसे में 10 लेता हूँ ये वाला whatever
yeah.
nerd or tech, so it is 100 terahash. Oh, 9 लेता हूँ मैं 90 terahash and it will consume how much 1500 watts, less than 1500 watts. So it's great, great. But
Mm,
price वो जो S9 है that I that we can get it at 1 lakh rupees.
yeah,
So इसको more than 12,000 13,000 पे करना per piece,
right.
because in 10,000 rupees you will get 1 lakh set, or like इसके price में will get 2 lakh sets. So how much time will it take us? But yeah, it's good. Like mining is very hard business, cutthroat business, but for कर सकते हैं. Let's go to the comment section. Like it is, the comment section is going
कौन
very.
है ये लोग?
Mm,
What is
uh,
happening? जय
Harsh Purani,
हनुमान.
Jai Hanuman. Happy Sunday. Harsh Purani is my one of my friend. Happy
Right.
Sunday, Bhavik bhai. Yeah. Can BTC go to $1 billion? Yes. नीचे जवाब दे ही दिया राहुल शर्मा ने। ओके, यस यस, भाई जाएगा बिटकॉइन $1 बिलियन भाई, ले लो जो भी है ना, आप ले लो जितने बिटकॉइन ले सके उतने। जाएगा जाएगा। शिट सर। What is the specific agenda of the session? Yeah, so Hers always like ask me, and Hers is उसको जानना, he wants to know about Bitcoin. Like yeah,
Hmm.
I know him for more than 10-15 years. So like
Right.
he knows about Bitcoin, he knows how the fiat system works. And the agenda of the session, like there is no specific agenda. Like this is the 35th episode of our like weekly show. So we have been doing it for the last 6, 7, 8 months. So every week on every Sunday, we just come and we cover whatever happening around Bitcoin all around the world. And yeah, main thing is like educate people around about Bitcoin, how to buy, how to stay away from shit coins, how to stay away from altcoins, why and how Bitcoin will become the global reserve currency, like the money of the internet or the money of the world. So yeah.
Yeah, because we also want to do this because you don't see all of this information on mainstream media. And even other cryptocurrency channels which are promoted by exchanges, they talk about
Hmm.
Web3, blockchain, and
Hmm.
token, which we personally feel are going nowhere. And
Hmm.
they do not have use case which is being touted about. So that is why we strongly believe in what we're doing,
Hmm.
and what we talk about, at least. Yeah. So that is the agenda of every session, rather, not just this one.
Yeah.
Okay. The last few things we'll just quickly cover and then we can have our discussions. Coinbase has already started giving issues to a lot of people across the world, and they are
Hmm.
not able to access funds, which are fueling concerns on customer service and security. So this
Hmm.
is usually the sign of a top, but
Hmm.
we're just getting started. So it's Coinbase ka
Uh,
हमेशा रहता है, where they have issues with their exchanges whenever there is massive spikes in volumes. Also, you see a lot of coins being drained out from all the exchanges, including Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, blah blah blah, all these
hmm.
exchanges. So it is always advisable, anywhere you are, whoever you are, always take self custody of your coins. Find those exchanges in India.
Hmm.
There are a couple of them. Reach out to their founders if you must, but ask them for a surety of self custody. Uske baad mein hi karna. If you are worried about self custody, that is. If you're not, then please go ahead. There are multiple exchanges in India who are okay. They are fine to trade in.
Yeah,
Boliye.
let's take a question of hers. I have a question. Can you please explain me? So yes, Harsh, you can ask the question definitely. And yeah, meanwhile he asked question. So ये Coinbase की बात में like हमने like we have been discussing about ETF, right? Like उनकी वो ETF की कस्टडी है, और हमें कई बार ये भी डाउट हुआ है कि उनके पास वो कस्टडी होगी होगी कि नहीं। तो ये उनके यूजर्स पे ये लोग लाइक इट वाज इनएविटेबल, आज के बाद आज नहीं तो कभी ना कभी वो करने ही थे। और एक्सचेंज एक्सचेंज को लाइक एक्सचेंज यूजर का फंड उठा के भाग जाती है कोई छोटी, लाइक ये कोई ऐसी वो रेयर बात नहीं है, होता है क्रिप्टो स्पेस में। सो जैसे निहाल ने कहा, जस्ट टेक द सेल्फ कस्टडी ऑफ द कॉइन एंड या proof of work and proof of stake. Can you explain in very easy language the difference between proof of work and proof of stake? Yeah, Nihal, would you like to go? Then I will I will explain
हाँ,
after you.
ठीक है.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Now compare this to the current models that we have. Uh,
Hmm.
आप अगर सोना माइन करना चाहोगे, या you want to remove it from the wherever, you'll have to
Yeah.
expend your energy. आपको अपना blood, sweat, tears एक करना है to get that coin out of the earth. This is ideally what proof of work is in, like, analogy wise. Same चीज proof of stake अगर आप देखोगे, current financial system में you're giving it to a bank अपना, they are, hey,
क्या हुआ?
हाँ, तो बैंक अपना फ्रैक्शनल रिजर्व बैंकिंग कर रही है, एंड वो आपको अपना इंटरेस्ट दे रही है आफ्टर अ सर्टेन पॉइंट, एंड दैट इज अ सॉर्ट ऑफ स्टेकिंग मैकेनिज्म. सो बेसिकली इथेरियम अगर आप देखोगे टिल 2021 was working on proof of work, where people across the world could actually mine Ethereum, and that was equally rewarded. Sure, it is not as just as the Bitcoin network, but ठीक है, अगर आप कंप्यूटिंग एनर्जी एक्सपेंड कर रहे हो आपको उतना कॉइन मिल रहा है. बट ऑन द सेम लाइंस, if we are looking at abhi jo transition hua hai on proof of stake, what they are trying to say is if you hold a certain amount of Ethereum, only then you are able to take decisions in the future of the protocol. So that is the basic difference, is what I feel between these two. It might not be as simple as you expect it to be, but I tried my best for this time. But aage chal ke if I can refine it more, I will do it. Bhavik, your, and then
या
Sachin,
विल डू
please.
इट. हाँ, लाइक इसमें हम आते रहेंगे बार बार. सचिन, आप वुड यू लाइक टू, आप कुछ बताओ, देन आप, मैं भी उसके बाद बताता हूँ कुछ. कैन यू एक्सप्लेन वेरी इजी लैंग्वेज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क एंड प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक? हर्ष आस्क द क्वेश्चन.
Those are two mechanisms that are used to come to consensus about what transactions are valid and what transactions are invalid. So I mean, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of these other crypto networks, they are basically ledgers, right? You just add transactions to it, and there are different types of transactions. And proof of stake and proof of work are two different mechanisms to add transactions to this ledger. Proof of work relies on various participants in the network expending a certain amount of computational energy and showing that they've expended a certain amount of work in order to add that ledger and add that transaction to the ledger. And proof of stake relies on people having these tokens that are these monetary units of the network in order to add the transactions to the ledger. So the problem with proof of stake is that I mean it doesn't really have any sort of mm, it doesn't really have any sort of ex- people any people who want to add transactions to it, they don't have to expend any sort of um, economic value in order to add it. It you know, you can say that people need to buy the coins in order to get get that particular stake, but where does this start, right? Bitcoin, it kind of started with people expending energy, whereas proof of stake, people don't really have to incur any sort of like real economic cost. That's the general difference. And I don't feel like proof of stake is the ideal way to go when it comes to coming to consensus about transactions.
Bhavik, बताइए.
या लाइक आप दोनों ने, यू गाइस प्रीटी मच कवर्ड ऑल थिंग्स. मैं भी अब बता ही देता हूँ छोटा मोटा, बस वही, आई थिंक जो भी आपने बोला वही बोलूंगा मैं, कि प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क, प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक. लाइक प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क में ऐसा है, लाइक जो नाम जो है प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क, वो काम का प्रूफ है क्या, लाइक लिटरली वहां पर काम हुआ है, लिटरली वहां पर एनर्जी एक्सपेंड हुई है. प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक में कुछ नहीं है. सो सबसे इजीली ऐसे समझ सकते हो, एकदम इजीली एक्सप्लेनेशन मुझे ऐसे मिल रहा है कि बिटकॉइन प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क पे चलता है. अगर आपको बिटकॉइन में ट्रांजेक्शन्स में, आपको लाइक इफ यू वांट टू ऐड द ट्रांजेक्शन, बिटकॉइन के ट्रांजेक्शन, इफ यू वांट टू राइट इनटू बिटकॉइन ट्रांजेक्शन, देन आपको एनर्जी चाहिए. लाइक यू डोंट नीड बिटकॉइन, आपको बिटकॉइन नहीं खरीदने पड़ेंगे टू हैव समथिंग से इन बिटकॉइन. यू जस्ट नीड एनर्जी. तो वर्ल्ड में एनर्जी अबेंडेंस है. जिसके भी पास एनर्जी है वो उस बिटकॉइन को, प्रोटोकॉल को थोड़ा बहुत कंट्रोल कर सकता है. लेकिन हर सबके पास एनर्जी है तो कोई इसको कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाएगा, मेजोरिटी. प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक में ऐसा है कि अगर आपको उसमें कोई भी ट्रांजेक्शन प्रूव करना है तो आपको उसमें, वो इथेरियम प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक पे चलता है तो आपको वो, यस, इथेरियम इज बेस्ड ऑन प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक. तो वो इथेरियम प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक पे चलता है तो आपको इथेरियम लेने पड़ेंगे. तो आपको सीधा दिख रहा है कि जिसके पास ज़्यादा इथेरियम होंगे वो उस चेन को कंट्रोल कर लेगा. और इथेरियम आप डॉलर से खरीद सकते हो. तो इथेरियम पे ऊपर कंट्रोल, प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक चेन पे कंट्रोल करने के लिए आपको मनी चाहिए, डॉलर चाहिए जो आराम से प्रिंट हो सकता है. तो प्रूफ ऑफ स्टेक आराम से कॉप्ट हो जाएगा एंड वो खत्म हो जाएगा. प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क, बिटकॉइन प्रूफ ऑफ वर्क पे चलता है, वो कभी करप्ट नहीं हो सकता. लाइक इट इज लाइक नियरली इम्पॉसिबल. सो बस ऐसा है.
Yeah.
हम्म,
Yeah, and it's all about where the value comes from. Like once you add, the reason why people would want to add transactions is because they want to earn the monetary unit, like the tokens of the network. In Bitcoin, it is BTC, and on Ethereum, it is ETH. And the reason why anyone would want to add transactions is they have an incentive in the form of these transaction rewards, transaction fees, block rewards, all of these things, right? So it's just that on Ethereum it's a bit circular. Like you need to get tokens that have a certain value in order to get the same token as rewards. Like where it comes with this thing. Have you seen that meme about proof of stake being an extension cord with the plug uh, would actually connected to the extension cord itself? That's
ऐसा
basically
ऐसा
what
ही
proof
हुआ।
of stake is. It's
राइट
not connected
राइट।
on Bitcoin. The extension cord is connected to an actual energy source. On proof of stake, that plug is connected to itself. That's basically how it works.
या ये
Awesome.
ब्यूटीफुल एक्सप्लेनेशन था।
Thanks, Harsh, for asking that question. आपके अगर
या
question मतलब if you've got some clarity with it, we are glad that we could help. Uh, Last but not the least, let's just finish the episode with this thing which happened. A lot of you who have been in, who know this person, she was very famous for a very absurd reason last कुछ महीना पहले. She's known as the Haktwa girl, and as all these influencers do, उसने अपना coin launch कर दिया on Solana, and after a few minutes, the developers rug pulled, and allegedly rug pulled apparently, but yeah. So almost 500 million worth of value was eradicated in a matter of minutes, and 95% of your money जो भी जिन्होंने भी इस coin को खरीदा था, they had lost it. Now she's being sued and by all those people, and she's got criminal action suit against her. And this is what happens, especially in the bull run and bull market. This person was, I don't know why she went to the Bitcoin conference also, and she was invited there. So तो यही है कि people will do this, especially now, and the next 1 year you have to be very careful. In India भी हो सकता है. A lot of people will tell, oh, this is Bitcoin, यहाँ पे आपको डबल कर सकते हैं आपका प्रॉफिट.
ये हो रहा है पता है आपको।
या देखिए,
बहुत कॉइन्स है, बहुत कॉइन्स
या
है।
सो आपको प्रॉमिस दिखाया जाएगा कि ओ ओ जस्ट बिकॉज बिटकॉइन वेंट अप टू 88 lakhs, नाउ दिस आल्सो कैन गो डबल, आप इसमें डालो, दिस इज मोर अफोर्डेबल, एंड they'll prey on you, and this is what you need to be aware of. So please be aware of all of these things. And yeah, that's the gyan for today.
हम्म
Exchanges पे 100% like be very scrutiny करके ही देखना, because we have a recent exchange जो yesterday आया था, and उनकी बातों से ऐसा लग रहा है कि there's no other option rather than to socialize the lots. So that was infuriating in a lot of things. उन्होंने एक proper example ऐसा दिया है कि एक बिटकॉइन है, एक इथेरियम है, एक यूजर के पास बिटकॉइन है, एक यूजर के पास इथेरियम है. अब एक इथेरियम चला गया या चोरी हो गया, अब आप बताओ हम क्या करें. So I mean, that's your problem, dude. आपने जो
वही
प्रॉफिट
यार।
कमाया है उसमें से निकालो, or whatever you've done in the past. You spoke about proof of reserves, and you spoke about equal matching of currencies and all that jazz before. Where is all that gone now? So that is something which pissed me off, because I have friends who have invested in that exchange and their money stuck. They can't do anything. They can't take it out. They can't do anything. Now that Bitcoin has reached 100K and there is a long runway ahead. ये लोग टालते जाएंगे, इन जून जुलाई तक कुछ नहीं होने वाला is what my assumption is, but let's see.
गवर्नमेंट भी कुछ नहीं प्रोटेक्ट कर रही, सो बेस्ट ऑप्शन इज लाइक अगर तुम एक्सचेंज से बिटकॉइन ले भी रहे हो तो उसको सेल्फ कस्टडी कर लो, हार्डवेयर वॉलेट में स्टोर कर लो उसकी की। लाइक उस पे हमने कभी कई बार बताया कि कैसे होता है वो, बट लाइक ये
Yeah.
जस्ट हैव अ सेल्फ कस्टडी एंड अगर सेल्फ कस्टडी और एक्सचेंज जैसे नहीं मिल रहे तो आप लाइक ट्राई टू डू पीयर टू पीयर ट्रेड,
Right.
दैट्स बेस्ट
So
ऑप्शन.
I think a good way to look at this is whenever you store your funds with a custodian, um, these people are offering a service like any other service in the market, like any other product in the market. They are also offering a service, and before anyone offers a service, they have all these user agreements, right? Terms of service, user agreements, and all of these things. So what most of these exchanges do is they have different agreements with between users, and most of us won't really read it, right? Most of us won't really read it, and we'll just use it, and we'll go ahead and do it. So the thing is, when they mess up, when they kind of have their funds hacked or whatever it is, they can hide behind these agreements, and they can shift the responsibility on you. And I that's just how it is. And what WazirX can do right now is they'll go back and look at all these terms of service and user agreements and all of these things, and they can say that it was the user's responsibility to make sure that they did due diligence and all of these things. And they made the mistake, but they can use leverage all of these things and make sure that the funds of make sure that things are done in a way that is favorable to them rather than the user. And that's pretty
Hmm.
much it. But when you're using a Bitcoin wallet, the user agreement and the terms of service is all out there in the open. It's all open source, and it applies to everyone who's using the Bitcoin network. Most of these wallets, I mean, in particular, when you're using a self-custodial wallet, I would urge people to make sure that it is open source and it is openly available to everyone. The code is audited by enough people. So these are things that can be done. So anything that anyone is offering, it is all up to the individual to take responsibility for their funds, for their finances, and that is something that Bitcoin teaches you to a great extent. I mean, right now it might be a bit annoying to hear me say all of these things, but as you use Bitcoin and as you learn about Bitcoin over the next 1, 2, 3 years, you'll realize that personal responsibility is the core of everything that happens in Bitcoin when it comes to managing your funds.
Hmm.
So I get your get,
Totally.
get your Bitcoin off exchanges, contact your Bitcoin friends and make sure that you ask them as many questions as possible, learn about it as much as possible. At least spend like an hour every day to learn about what self custody is, how transactions work. It's all out there. It's all out there in the open, and all you need to do is get the right information.
Right.
True.
Totally. Hmm.
Chaliye, that's it for this week. Anything
Oh
else you'd
yeah.
like to add, Bhavik?
No, we are more than 1 hour, so
Yeah.
there is too much to say, but
Glad you
we'll
could join us, Sachin. And it was
yeah.
surprising. Yeah. Instant.
Yeah, it was amazing. Thanks so much for
Hmm.
having me. When 1 crore
Yeah.
Bitcoin though?
Sorry?
When 1 crore Bitcoin, that's the real celebration, guys. That's
Oh, that.
that's our celebration.
Oh, yeah.
Soon, right?
I'm guessing by
Yeah.
Jan and Feb.
Yeah, I mean 100K Bitcoin, 100K dollars in Bitcoin is fair enough for people living in the West who is living in the US and who are
Hmm.
living on
Yeah.
a dollar standard. But 1 crore is like a huge
True.
mind fuck for a lot of people in India. Right? That's something that will really make a lot of people pay attention.
That is true.
1 crore, like 1C is a huge
1 crore,
number,
na?
isn't it?
Right. 1 crore. Crore is too much for Indians, right? Crore, yeah.
Let's see.
आंखें फट जाती है ना करोड़ बोलने, करोड़ ऐसे आंखें ऐसी हो जाती है, मिडिल लाइक 90% लोग लाइक या
Chaliye. Cool.
है ना. या
We'll see you
थैंक यू
guys
सचिन.
next week. Thank you,
या.
Harsh. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Jay. जो भी हो आप काफी very active on the comment section. My God.
I love the energy in the chat. It's amazing.
सच में बीच में तूफान आ गया था.
Cool, yeah. चलो
ठीक
मिलते हैं
है.
next time. Bye bye.
या नेक्स्ट
Thank
में
you.
मिलते हैं. नेक्स्ट एपिसोड इज 36.
Good. Bye.
36
Yes.
राइट.
Yes.
या 36. या गुड नंबर. Bye bye. Take care. Bye Sachin. Bye Nihal.